that just kept on compounding there for Stefano. There's the map, Cloud Kingdom. And ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This is game point for Stefano, and he could take third place here at the Red Bull Battlegrounds.
Indeed, we have hopped into the game. So man, what a close series this has been so far. Spawning down in the bottom left side, showing phenomenal micro in that last game, but he wasn't able to keep up in the macro. Give a cheer for Squirtle.
And in the northeast position, as the Red Zerg, potentially looking at a third place finish here at Red Bull Battlegrounds. Give it up for Millennium Stefano.
And man, what a map choice. This is such a fun PvZ map to watch. The Zerglings are running everywhere. Would not be surprised to see this game go to a mothership. So my predictions for this game, DJ Wheat, I think Stefano's going to go for early 3 base.
Oh, yeah?
And Squirtle's going to make some Immortals and then try and get a mothership.
All right. Well, you know what? You must be a betting man. I would not take that bet because I agree with you. I think that's exactly what we're going to see out of these guys here, and rightfully so. You know, we get to see their best play put forward, and it just sort of clash right here in the third and fourth place matchup in Austin. Thanks everyone for coming out. You've been great all weekend and we appreciate it. We've still got our grand finals right around the corner where Bomber will be taking on MC. And yeah, I do think we're going to get another quite a long game here, which I'm okay with. I could watch these guys play pretty much all day.
That is true. I mean, they have such a strong playstyle. And also, I almost feel like it's a playstyle that almost complements each other in that, you know what, I'm not going to super cheese you, don't cheese me. Let's take it to the last game, or to the end game, excuse me, so we can start seeing who has the better force. We do see the pylon going down there right at the expansion. That is going to delay any potential for the Nexus, but you know, since he did have a forge here, he will have the ability to place cannons at that expansion if he decides to. He could also wall in the ramp right here, something you don't see nearly as often, and we'll take an additional couple pylons there just because that ramp is so wonky. But is he just going to drop down the Nexus? Yes, he does. He's still not even right now, he's tempted to put cannons there, but he's not going to, man. He has to let Stefano get those 3 bases.
Yeah, now we have seen before, we've seen Squirtle actually do this where he goes ahead and throws down the pylon, the one cannon in the back, but the Zerglings are out, which makes it not so viable of an option, and he should be able to clear out that pylon, no problem. Meanwhile, trying to complete that wall at the front, his Nexus is up, Gateway coming, and another pylon, and eventually throw down that cannon for the ultimate defense there, early game. And meanwhile, this probe is going to hang out on the east side of the map. And you know, this probe and the retention of this probe is so important. We see a lot of Zergs putting their overlords here in the southeast position to try to find those proxy pylons, to try to find exactly those places where the Protoss might be able to put that proxy pylon and really get a nice warp in to, you know, ultimately attack a natural or a third base.
Yeah, and the angle that he's going down, I mean, he's going to see if there's any sort of hidden tech down here as far as Stargate. Also, if forces decide to go there to try to avoid an overlord, he's going to send one down there, but he's also going to be sending it to the safe spot down at the south side of the base where he can scout the gas. He can also scout if there's any tech hidden in that corner. Now, is Squirtle going to put tech over there? Probably not. It's most likely going to be on the left side. As you can see, he does have a pylon dropping down right there, so he could hide some tech there. And you got to remember, if you're Stefano, there's still the threat of DTs trying to deny that third base. There is still the threat of any Stargate play at all, and it's going to come down to that scouting, which is made a lot easier with the newly upgraded Overlord.
You know, I just want to point something else out as well. We talked about this in, you know, a few other events because it can be a little weird. So, you know, if you get your natural blocked by a pylon, you know, a lot of Zergs, they throw down that hatchery at the third. And Stefano's actually one of the few Zergs that will go ahead and transfer those 8 drones over. Even though it might take quite a while for them to get there, that is mining time that you're losing. A lot of Zergs will just go ahead and not transfer. They'll build right out of there right away. But I feel like Stefano actually,
Apparently my MFC application stopped working.
Is StarCraft still open?
I sure hope so.
Yay!
It is.
Okay. I don't know what that was. We'll have to look into that after the matchup. Snarf, indeed.
But don't worry, because Stefano has lost 6 resources.
Yeah, and all that.
All right, so we do see that there is no upgrades on the way out of this forge. And the sentry right there is going to be holding it on. And once again, we've seen Squirtle do this before, where he just doesn't make units in the early game. And I feel like Stefano could punish that by doing some roach timings here, taking his opponent by surprise. But does he really need to? Because what he's been doing so far seems to be working out quite well for him. But that's something that, Squirtle, it comes down to the scouting. That's why he's being so active with this Stalker, trying to grab the watchtowers as much as he possibly can here. And, I mean, he's only got like 3 attacking units, but he is on the field with one of them.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, so far, I feel like Squirtle is really sort of focusing his build around making sure that Stefano doesn't know what is coming. The Overlord over here is going to be stopped by the cannon, could possibly go in through the back. They also got the Overlord over on the east side, but I don't know if he wants to, he definitely wants to keep some of this tech hidden and not allow his opponent to see anything going inside. Of course, once he gets lair, that can change everything, and it is going to be completing pretty soon. And there we see more gateways thrown down, so we are going to have a 6th gate here come out for Squirtle. But he does not have a forward pylon. Right now his composition, just a few sentries and that Stalker.
Man, the unit composition seeming almost identical every single game, as he does have the Roach Warren and the upgrades continuing on like we've seen before. But on this map, it's going to be a little bit easier to secure a 4th base if he does decide to. So I want to know with Squirtle, what is his plan for these Immortals? Again, is he going to sit back, keep them alive, and just try and get out 3 or 4 like we've seen before, or is he going to continue making even more than that? We'll just have to wait and see. We haven't seen him use Colossus tech all that much. We do once again have Hallucination on the way, most likely just going to be using that for Phoenix, because you have to remember that if Stefano has correct detection, then you're not actually going to trick him into thinking you have a larger army. It's mostly going to be for scouting.
Yeah, that's only happened once or twice in StarCraft 2, and it's going to be a while before it happens again. People literally have to forget that Hallucination even exists, but there was one day where Hallucinated Void Rays actually made someone leave a game.
I don't know who that would be, but it does look like Stefano got to be moving out now with a lot of roaches. And, at this point, DJ, it's the same thing we've seen before. Look at the drone count, 61. He has a few less drones this time, but you see no drone production now, and instead a lot of Zergling Roach.
The big difference between this one and what happened the last game is Stefano's going to have Roach speed, and he's going to have +1 missile, something that came a little bit later on in the initial attack. Looks like he's going to go up for the front. Great force field to stop this unit, and he will be stopped here at the 3rd as well, completely shut down. And the force fields will save the day here. He might just try to pick off a few more, but will he kill this aggression, or is he going to keep on doing it? Look at these roaches squeezing on through here, but there's already a ton of units here, and I feel like Squirtle already just holding this down with the perfect amount of units on both sides.
Yeah, he did lose a couple of Stalkers on this left side. The cannon could potentially go down as well. Now, Stefano has tried to do this exact build on this exact map with limited success, but he is going to get surround here, as this looked like exactly what he needed. He can almost 2-shot that Immortal. It does go down. Squirtle, again, his game plan revolves on keeping those Immortals alive. That's why he continues to produce them. But so far, he overextended there just a little bit. Needs to get that Immortal back. He does. More warping and reinforcements going to delay the Roaches from being able to snipe that Immortal. But at this point, he needs to kill off all these units very cost effectively, because you just simply put cannot afford to lose Immortals.
Oh yeah, and there's not too many force fields left. The Lynx coming in for a big surround. The Roaches dishing out the damage to the Immortals. Immortal 1 goes down, Immortal 2 goes down, and now these units are in a lot of trouble. More probes are starting to move over here, but the Zealot warp in will help out. There's only a handful of Roaches remaining, about 12, as we have more marching on down the map. And you know what? This Observer is seeing the amount of Roaches, and we'll know if this aggression ever stops. But as he continues to see Roaches just file in, he knows that he's got to keep fighting for his life.
He needs to keep working in sentries to try and wall that off. He did get some nice force field there. It's going to be about a third of that army size, and it does have another Immortal here, but unfortunately has not been able to mine at this base the entire time. And Stefano knows that, so he's going to go ahead and take his 4th base to get even further ahead here. Although you got to remember that the supply counts can be very misleading. Stefano has lost more in resources, but honestly, Squirtle would be in insane shape if he could have kept those Immortals alive. But since he doesn't have them, these Roaches are able to do a lot of damage. Sentries do not do that much damage versus the Roaches. Trying to throw down good enough force fields here, but a second Immortal arriving right now, but the reinforcements just keep coming.
Yeah, I mean, the force fields have absolutely been saving the life of Squirtle, but he's down to just a few remaining. There's another one. He he needed to push it back, and he's going to now focus fire down on the Nexus, force these units to get closer to his roaches. I think he might be able to take it down at this point. He might just want to commit, and there it is. The third base goes down, and Stefano continues to shoot forward.
That +1 really helping him out and being able to snipe that. Now he's on top of the sentries. No amount of force fields can push those roaches far enough back. His sentry count is getting lower and lower. He is now down to 5. Look at the reinforcements continuing to stream down here from Stefano's base, and just killing that third base may be enough for him to fall back. But is he actually going to? We haven't seen him make any more drones. It's just been pure units over and over and over again. It is still 60 drones to the 50 probes of our Protoss player. Force fields right there, once again trying to deny this push as long as he possibly can. He will be able to cut these units, not quite in half though, but with 3 Immortals here, he should be able to, oh, nope, he didn't prevent that from going down. Down goes the Nexus. That was a cancel though, so we got some of that money back. But DJ Wade, he's denied this expansion for so long.
Yeah, I mean, he really has. He's just, I mean, but Stefano is going nothing but units behind this. I mean, he has done a ton of damage, but every single time he dips down a little bit lower in the maximum amount of supply. However, you have to appreciate the fact that we've been watching this battle take place at the third, and while it's happened, the third is completely saturated. We see the fourth of Stefano now going up, and it looks like he might just change up his path of attack. I do like the addition of the Zerglings in there once the force fields start to get depleted there by Squirtle, but he's got to you know, either continue this up. I mean, just look at the amount of red that is just streaming down across this map.
I do love the continual reinforcements as well as the multi-prong attacks. He's going to kill off these rocks so you can no longer block that off with just 1 force field. It is going to take 2 or 3. And at the time right now, Stefano's looking like he's going to go up here. The Zerglings do get the surround. 1 cannon is done. This is going to help clean up those lings, but does he have enough Immortals here? It's going to come down to the Immortals. Can he kill off all of those roaches? The force fields on the right side are beautiful, preventing more reinforcements from getting up there, but he's only got pure Immortal left right now and a couple of gateway units. It does look like the Immortals will indeed fall here, and I don't know if he can continue making the Immortals as quickly as he needs.
Yeah, he's got no more Immortals in production. He can kite these Zealots as well. Only a few sentries remaining. That 1 Immortal, it could be a lifesaver, but he's got to keep it alive. Now Stefano just waiting for the next round of units, but it seems like every single time it happens, no!
Well, according to the other screen over there, it looks like his game is crashed, so I don't think he'll be able to rejoin there. But it does look like that game was so close, still could have gone either way there, but the Immortals did get sniped quite heavily. And, you know, that's just tough for him right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Stefano, just a relentless aggression. 8 more roaches behind that, 10 more lings. There was a lot of roaches coming down there. He just eliminated all of those Immortals as well. And Squirtle, though, holding off quite well with the force fields and just microing his heart out.
Yeah.
But Willie will get an official ruling here in just a moment, as the end supply, when that happened, was 134 to 104. Stefano is on and had his 4th base up, but that is just too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough because, you know, the supplies can be very misleading in this matchup. Is sometimes you'll see, you know, a Zerg with 60, 70 additional supply, but with good micro, the Protoss player can still come back in those type of situations there. So we're just gonna have to figure out exactly what's gonna happen here next. But you know, that game, Squirtle, I think while he was still behind throughout that entire time, it definitely could have still gone either way, and I feel like there's a reason Squirtle was still staying in the game at that point.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting question, and obviously you can't really do it when these two are engaged in a battle, but, you know, after everything is said and done, I would love to just hear what their opinions were on, you know, if that game had to be called. You know, it looks like we're still going to be waiting for an official ruling. Stefano is actually asking, you know, was I ahead? How do you measure that, Husky? It's like, it's one of those things.
Tough. He was able to get that 3rd base up and running again. And I think one of the very important things is that, you know, that expansion, while Stefano was continually putting pressure on, he wasn't making that many drones the entire time. So he didn't have a 4th base that was saying, oh, you know, he's 1 base ahead now. And it does look like Stefano's saying go. I just want to make sure for sure that, you know, both players are okay with that. Oh, no, they're still checking. It does look, though, like if it is a rematch, it'll obviously be the same map.
Right, it would be the same map. And it does say they're just waiting on an official ruling. Now, I don't actually have the rule book on me right now, Husky. I'm sorry. I came a little unprepared. So it looks like it is a regame. Hey, I'm just the messenger, man.
Yep, and I just want to make sure that go. Just make sure.
All right, it looks like it is, and let's go ahead and get started.
All right, man. The countdown has begun.
We got to remember to ask that question to both of them. I feel like
Yes.
Stefano definitely feels like he was getting ready to close that one out. I think
Yeah.
the real answer I want is from Squirtle. What does he think? You know, once it's all said and done, ask the question. Obviously, his answer can't really have an effect on the outcome of the game. And, oh!
But this can have an outcome on the effect of the game.
Well, it was obvious that
Okay.
Squirtle was ahead in this one. So, you know, no, I'm just kidding. So, maybe there might be, you know, some sort of hardware issue.
Yeah, they might have to take a look at his computer in there
It's
if
kinda like-
it's happening twice.
Kind of like having a hole in your tennis shoe, you know? You're not going to be able to run that 400-meter dash, 100-meter dash, whatever.
Oh, indeed. So we will go ahead and get that one set up. We did have a little bit of trouble before with Sheth's game. Did end up being an awesome series once it did get underway. So it's going to be the same map once again. And you got to remember that this could potentially be Squirtle's last game. And, you know, that's really, you know, a shame because, you know, he's up against the wall. He has one more game that if he loses, I mean, he's out. If he wins,
Right.
it is going to take to the last game. And I think he's going to go ahead and take a look in there. Stefano's saying, hey, let's just get this checked out. And I totally agree. If it's happening twice there, just got to make sure there's no hardware issues in the booth over there, which there have been in the past. And, yeah, man, they're going to go ahead and get that one set up.
And, yeah, so this best of 5 will continue. That's right? We're currently sitting at 2-1.
Yeah.
In favor of Stefano. And we're just waiting to find out if we're going to do any hardware switch. But Cloud Kingdom, obviously the map for the 3rd time.
Do you ever feel like there's someone behind you? Oh,
Yeah.
changed it.
every
They were
once in a
sneaking
while.
up on us.
I'm getting ready to stab you in the back. It wasn't a regame.
It's like it wasn't my decision. Oh, my God.
All the Zergs out there were like, pfft, Stefano is so far ahead. Like, are you serious? All the Protoss are like, pfft,
He had that. He had an
he
immortal
had
left.
it. Did you see those force fields? Yeah, exactly. He had one immortal.
All the Terran are like, I'm not even watching this. All right, so I do believe since Stefano just disconnected from the chat here that they're going to take a look at it really quickly. And, yep, they are actually looking at the computer right there. It looks like it is going to be a reset on the computer. Yeah,
right.
They're going to go ahead and reboot that and get it started right away. It shouldn't be too much longer.
No, it shouldn't be. So, you know, we could take this time. We could, I don't know if you have any stories to tell, Husky. You know, maybe
More quizzes.
more quizzes.
About Pokemon.
We're going to take a look at the prize pool here. Look at that distribution. Right now, these guys playing for actually the difference of $3,000.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
$2,500 for 4th place and $5,500 for 3rd. Of course, 8 for 2nd. And so MC and Bomber, their game is going to be a $7,000 game. That's a big, big difference between the 1st and 2nd place. And I'm really excited to watch that one as well. Bomber made several comments about how he even agreed. I feel like my results have not been that phenomenal, but I feel like I'm also out of my slump. And he showed us here that, you know, that actually could be true. You know, MC the same way, you know, coming out really early as a champion. And now, I mean, posting some really solid results.
Yeah, I do want to say, as far as saying is MC in a slump or anything like that, I just feel like he's had so much success for so long that at some point you're like not going to win every tournament. So just be really careful with some players because, yeah, I mean, they're not going to win every tournament. Sometimes they get kicked out of Code S and all of that. And MC has managed to claw his way back into Code S many a times and just still working on the reset there. It shouldn't be too much longer there.
Yeah, you know, actually a good point, Husky, is that, you know, it's kind of interesting. We've had games in the past where champions have, you know, basically been very dominant. Like this one guy has won everything, but we haven't quite had that champion yet in StarCraft 2. It could be argued there's a few guys that have certainly won their fair share, but we've never actually seen like, dude, who is going to be able to beat that guy right there? And I don't even know if that's possible, but
yeah, especially in StarCraft 2, I mean, it changes so much more quickly, and I feel like, you know, the fact that there's 3 highly played servers. I mean, you're going to have European, of course, American, and Korean. Whereas in Brood War, you mostly just had players at the professional level playing on one server. So that means that there's going to be lots of different play styles and lots of underdogs able to come up with different strategies and prevent that kind of stuff from happening. And there you can see right there, they are just taking a look in the booth right now. Even the dog looks so sad.
Yeah, he does a little bit now. You know, the biggest thing right now is that Stefano just frankly can't let something like this really get him down.
Right.
It's really easy to just sort of, you know, be a little frustrated by it all, but you're one game away from potentially a $3,000 difference between fourth and third place. Best thing that you can do is just sort of center oneself, take a few deep breaths, and just, you know, kind of do your best to keep yourself in the game. We do have a Millennium Stefano rejoining here, ladies and gentlemen, so let me make sure they're ready, and then we'll go ahead and fire into it. So,
all right, DJ, we go ahead and start the game. It does look like both players are indeed ready.
All right, let's get this one
here we
started.
Go. Round number 3, man.
I actually have to click that button.
We totally got this. So do you have any predictions for this game?
You know, with Stefano, I wanted to see the end of that original game for. If Stefano goes for something, you know, similar, I think that he had the right idea. I mean, the one thing that I would definitely put in Squirtle's court is that he stopped the original natural aggression while that third aggression was going on with a single force field. And then he did split up his army quite well. But now things are going to be flipped on their head because look at that. Stefano's on the bottom and Squirtle's on the top.
That is true. So spawning down in the bottom left side, this could potentially be the last computer crash of the tournament. Please cheer for Stefano.
And in the northeast position as the blue Protoss, maybe a little relieved that that might have happened. We'll see what he's going to do here in game number 4. It is Star Tail Squirtle. You know, though, there's definitely a problem. Because now the roaches and the lings are no longer raining. Now they're actually launching because they have to go up the map in order to get to the Protoss.
That
now,
is true indeed, man.
Squirtle's going to be raining units on his opponent.
And you know what? The build that Stefano went, as far as the timing of the roaches and the lings and the way he was attacking the different locations instead of trying to kill an army in the center of the map, I don't know if that's going to be as effective this time because, you know, if Squirtle delays that third base a little bit and when he expands, he sets up 3 gateways as a wall in, all of a sudden that type of attack is no longer going to be effective. He could be expecting it here. So I wouldn't expect Squirtle to do anything super cheesy or anything like that, knowing that maybe he did kind of get a freebie here with that with the initial problems in that last game. And so I feel like Squirtle is going to be playing the same way we've seen so far throughout every single match. And Stefano, man, I would expect him to still play the same way here, but he is going to be going for pool first.
Yes, he is, as he throws that down. And I just have to agree with you, Husky. I mean, I think, frankly, Squirtle did a great job. Think about how many Protosses would have just died to the initial group of units. But, you know, he had very thoughtful force fields. You know, at the same time, Stefano making some really key decisions in those exchanges as well, where he was swinging some of the roaches down below the mineral line to force those units out. I mean, it's just really quite a dynamic attack and battle that took place there. But I agree with you. I don't think that there's anything where he could have said, well, gosh, I really screwed this up and now I'm going to do this differently. I mean, he can improve off of those mistakes, but oh, it looks like that probe is going to get over to that third, so this could be a big change in this matchup as he is likely going to be denying that even longer.
Now, I do think Stefano is going to be okay with this. I mean, I know it's definitely frustrating as a Zerg player, but you know what? He's just going to make a couple additional lings here if he needs to, although he is hovering about 500 resources and blocks it once again there. And it looks like the probe blocks it again, so Squirtle able to continue pushing forward here, denying the space. Could even drop a pylon there, but it does look like right now the expansion down here slowly getting taken out, or at least the pylon, so he can expand there, and this one goes down as well.
Yep, so he's going to get both of them right around the same time. Losing just a little bit of time there on the hatchery. Meanwhile, on the other side, that means the cannon's up, the gateway's almost up, and this Overlord will peek on over and see exactly what he can actually see right now, but not going to see anything other than what he expects to see. There we see the Psy-Core back there in the pocket here for Squirtle. And we have both of them, or all 3 bases down for Stefano. So I'm not taking that bet again, Husky. I have a feeling we're going to see the exact same thing.
Man, if only we had that rich, stupid friend who was like, I'm going to bet you he's not going to go for 3 hatcheries.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's going to be a baneling bust, 1 base, 1 gap. No, it's not.
I'm going to win big this time, I promise. Now, he does have the queen moving on down to the natural. And, I mean, this is what we've seen in both times we've seen this match happen on this map, as well as all the other games as well, where they're just kind of sitting back. 1 player's on 2 base, 1 is on 3, which is completely standard. And we also see the double gas out of Squirtle, which means that he's not going for those super all-ins with the heavy amount of gateways. Could very well throw down the double gas, put 3 probes in each of those before he starts to even tech up here. Now, Stefano does have his expansion timing here pretty spot on as far as the drone transfer is concerned, and should go ahead and start mining up there. And he's just continuing to make more drones.
Yeah, I mean, Stefano just is going to have that moment where suddenly he's going to have his economy just burst forward as he puts 8 drones on both of those hatcheries. And he just continues to power out drones, 7 more on the way. Meanwhile, we do have 2 Zealots moving out, so this will be a bit of a change here for Squirtle, as he's now getting an Immortal as well, just making sure he can actually defend against any sort of counterattack. And these 2 Zealots are making their way over. A Queen is going to pop here, but I love this decision from Squirtle.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that it's kind of funny to say, oh, here's a change in the build, when this is something that you see a lot of Protoss players do. It's completely standard.
Yep.
You see Stefano going, oh, he's actually attacking me before the 20-minute mark. I need to go ahead and micro my queen around a little bit. Will have to micro his drones as well. Decides to engage the Zealots themselves with the drones. You do have to be very careful. Look at him using hold position there to try and keep that queen from getting surrounded by 2 Zealots, because 2 Zealots are actually very scary for a queen. She can get chased down and killed by those Zealots. But overall, I don't think Stefano ended up losing all that much. Yeah, just 125 minerals overall. 1 additional Zergling does go down there. So no major damage either way.
Now, there is a pylon over here east of this 3rd base, and we talked a little bit about this pylon. It actually caused Violet some issues earlier today, as these pylons were able to warp in, not being cleaned up, and do some pretty hefty damage. But we've got a lot of Zerglings coming out right now, and look at that. He's going to see that directly in his sights. So if there was any sort of aggression, well, maybe.
Okay, there we go.
He just stopped short.
Okay, yeah, he did indeed spot. And the warp in here, the Zealots are going to complete, which means the pylon will stand. But Stefano is going to be able to spot this in time. He's going to be able to react here. And now he knows, I'm just going to keep making hits. Look at this. He swings all the way around with those Zerglings to try and kill off the pylon. Can he actually get it? It's going to be dangerously low, and down it goes. Stefano with a good game sense to know exactly what's going on, and this attack is going to be held.
Yeah, and I mean, this is fantastic. Forcing the Zealots to run back. There's not going to be any reinforcements. You know, the Zealots could have gone in and tried to force some damage at the 3rd, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. So a little flank with those Zerglings just to take out that 1 pylon will prove to be very, very successful. And no, that will not be an issue for the Zerg player, at least not for a while, as we have the Robo done now for Squirtle, already getting out his Observer. And now on the other side, I mean, we're just seeing the first roaches start to come out here. There are only 3 gas right now as well for Stefano, just finishing up on another one. So is he going to go once again for this aggression? He's got speed and +1 on the way. 16 Zerglings getting ready to head out, and he's already rallying his units over towards this 3rd.
Yeah, and I do want to say that during that attack, with that warp into 4 Zealots, Stefano had basically the good game instincts to know that, hey, I'm about to kill this pylon. He actually made 10 drones like immediately after that pylon died. He knew that the attack had completely stopped, did not overcommit on those units. So that means now he has that drone count he wants. He's at 61. He's again going to get 6 drones here, which is going to put him at exactly what we've seen him get in these last games. I think he is going to go ahead and add on a couple additional ones. So last game he had slightly less drones. This game he has slightly more drones than we've seen in the builds previous. But overall, I think that the game idea, the build order idea is still about the same. You know, attack with the Zerglings and the Roaches around now, trying to do multi-prong attacks. But he has to be careful here, DJ Week, because I don't think it's going to work as good. I think he knows it. That's why he took a 4th. Yeah,
I agree with you. In fact, that definitely tells me he's going to ease up on the aggression, but he can still kind of force his opponent into thinking this is exactly what's happening as he positions himself just outside this 3rd. And as long as he's not caught by the force fields, you know, you can force your opponent into heavily defending this area, maybe going for some sort of a counterattack, but he's swinging around all the way to the north side and will go ahead and poke in here. try to do some sort of damage. But again, he's just got to be careful about those force fields. Will get out with minimal losses. And this all kind of a delay as he is going to get that fourth base up, no problem.
Yeah, this is a sign of a good Zerg player. I mean, obviously everyone knows Stefano's good, but you have to do things like poking in there with your army, realizing that, you know, it's not the same game as it was last game. You're not making as many units. You know you're expanding early. You know you've made more workers, so your army is significantly weaker. That's why he backed out there before he even saw the units. He just wanted to force them to have to play a defensive position. Now we do see Stefano going to go ahead and clear out some of these rocks. Again, that is because Protoss players love choke points because it just takes a couple of force fields to completely protect your army. So the more of those that you can end up killing off, the better. And right now, he has, what's his drone count up to? He's up to 80, which is a lot more than we saw in the previous game, where he was sitting, I believe, at 60 during that that entire attack there. So is he going to be going straight for the hive tech? Not quite yet. I'm kind of curious to see exactly what he's going to do on this lair tech for now.
Yeah, we have the robotics bay coming out right now, and Colossus likely to be following up with that. And I mean, with this fourth base up, it is going to give him the economy to not only pump out those units, but be able to deal with this, especially if he knows that it's coming. Looks like he's swinging around yet again, but this time there is an observer up top and some thoughtful observer positioning here for Squirtle, as he's really keeping an eye on all of the key areas. But this time in an attack, we are going to have 5 infestors thrown into the mix as well. Is it going to be effective here? He's going in for the attack there. The force fields go down. He's going to go ahead and just throw out the infested Terrans. Were they wasted?
Oh man, Stefano was completely maxed at the time of this attack. 13 minutes, and he has infestors mixed in. The force fields, I don't know if it's going to be enough. We still do not see any Colossus, and he actually ran right past the force field. So right now, this is not looking very good for Squirtle here, as Stefano, he's playing a similar style, only with higher tech units, still attacking this location from multiple directions at once. And all of a sudden, Squirtle has lost the majority of his units, and the units lost overall is about the same. But this is looking pretty good here for Stefano. He wasn't able to kill that expansion, but he does have tech units on the way. But we actually have a Colossus coming up for Squirtle.
Yeah, and those infested Terrans actually doing a ton of damage. I mean, right there, they cleaned up a bunch of the low-health Stalkers. They were able to kill a bunch of the Zealots as well. And, I mean, the retention here is strong for Stefano. He's sitting in an army of 193, and there is going to be one Stalker blocking the front here. But if he takes out these rocks, he's going to have a clear entryway into that natural. And now there's just a way more surface area that Squirtle has to defend. He's going to be constantly going back and forth dealing with this aggression.
Now the Colossus will be able to fight on the high ground to prevent the attack on the right side from doing as much damage as you might think it would. Force fields on the right side to try and delay that, but the hatchery, or excuse me, the Nexus may go down. It does look like the Nexus will fall. I can't quite tell if the Immortals are going to be able to get up there to do the damage it needs to. It's going to be dangerously close, but I think he will indeed get it. Down goes the third. The infested Terrans finishing it off of all things, but the Colossus does remain. These pros will begin long distance mining. The expansion over here, though, they're transferring into those roaches, and that means that he is currently not mining on 2 bases here, as Stefano able to do a lot of damage.
Yes, he was. He's going to now try to snipe the Colossus, and he gets it. And that is huge, especially after that Robo goes down. So a nice fake out there coming out by Stefano. He actually attacks in one position, comes in through the back, throws down a ton of infested Terrans, but here is the point. We're seeing Squirtle say, well, you just did a ton of damage to me. I need to take what I have and go after you. That is a lot of lings and a lot of roaches here. The Corruptors are out, but is it enough to be able to deal with this? There's going to be a small window here for Squirtle, and you can tell that Stefano is getting ready to defend.
Oh man, a small window indeed. That 2-2 is about to finish here in a couple of seconds. The Corruptors are now out. There's only that singular Colossus. And Stefano, I mean, he's not overcommitting on these Corruptors. He knows that he's halted the income, which means he's halted that Colossus production. +3 is nearly done. I think that's exactly what Squirtle's going to be waiting for. And if these Corruptors kill off the Colossus, they've done their job, but doesn't want to needlessly throw them away. But you got to remember, Stefano is once again maxed out 200, or I guess 198 out of 200. But that does mean that the longer our Protoss player waits, the more and more money Stefano has saved up.
Yep, that's right. And he's sitting about 2,000, 2,500 minerals. His gas is very, very low. And this would be that moment where he would typically take another base or two. And he's going to attack it from the back and from the ramp as well, throwing those infested Terrans out yet again. He gets a great concave on the rough side with those roaches. The Colossus finally goes down, and will this be enough for him to run over the rest? These Immortals are still ripping through a lot of these roaches, but more reinforcements coming up from the back.
Now, do note, though, that Stefano can remax out. He does have 54 Zerglings on the way. The Roaches may not be able to completely finish the job, but they've killed the important units. They've killed the Colossus. They've killed the Immortals. The Zerglings are going to be able to clean up the rest here. He has almost a 100 supply lead right now, and that does force Squirtle to retreat. He's just about to finish up that third base once again, but his natural is going to get mined out here relatively soon. Stefano wants to end it right now. He's going to be attacking here at the natural. He's just going to be rallying these reinforcements further and further into the base of Squirtle. It's going to be 146 supply to 86 right now. The force field is just buying enough time here to try and get his units into a good position.
Oh, and so many links streaming in. All these units very, very low. The blink is keeping these stalkers alive for as long as he can, but if another wave of reinforcements comes from Stefano, is there anything Squirtle's going to be able to do? He does deflect this yet again, but you can see the third is going to be relatively undefended. There's just a handful of stalkers and a couple of zealots and a few cannons here to stop whatever may come his way.
Yeah, I mean, Squirtle right now is not in good shape. If we take a look at the units tab, it's only 2 Zealots and 6 Stalkers. That's like not very good after the first 4 minutes of a game. He is warping in 3 Sentries here, but I mean, it's 19 Roaches, 4 Corruptors, 3 Infestors, 35 Lings. That's definitely going to be a one-sided battle should it take place in the center of the map here. The income's looking great here for Stefano as well. And you got to remember that Squirtle doesn't really have that many tech units. I mean, he has 1 Colossus on the way, but he doesn't have a Mothership to get a crazy Vortex. He doesn't have Psystorm to get crazy storms on the drones or the army. And with just mostly gateway units here, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, these Broodlords and more even coming in. We're now going to have a total of 6 Broodlords being morphed in. So Corruptor thinks he wants to be a Broodlord too. And I have no idea how he's going to be able to combat this, even though there are not as many Broodlords as you would expect to see at this portion of the game. You know, Stefano quickly teching up. He did a lot of attacking early on. Killing that Robo was huge, keeping the Colossus count down as well. Looks like he may go in for the final blow.
All right, here we go. The Broodlords now are going to be able to outrange all these units. We do have a huge concave by Squirtle, but he just gave up that concave to try to engage right there. You got to remember, though, he does have Blink, which means that these Broodlords can be taken out, but the alternate attack avenue on the right side is completely exposed. We don't see Stefano going for that, though. He is going to be expanding to the bottom right side. He's just going to be dancing back and forth with these Broodlords to try and spawn as many Broodlings as he possibly can, and the upgrade's going to be phenomenal. 3-3 now. Here he goes. This could be it, DJ Wheat.
Yeah, Fungal's going down. We see the Broodlords just eating away, and GG! Stefano takes 3rd place at Red Bull Battlegrounds.
And that's going to be very relieving for him. That was a grueling matchup for him, getting very close to winning. You know, the first time, of course, then unfortunately the game ended, and this time he was still able to prove, look, I don't have to go the exact same build. And also, I got to hand it to him, he gets maxed out so quickly. That wasn't a 13-minute just Roach max. He also had a bunch of Infestors in there. And he hits before Squirtle really has Colossus or anything to easily deal with that.
Yeah, and I feel like those Infestors actually came in huge. You know, you'd think, okay, he's got him there, he's ready to throw down the Fungals, but he was like, no, this energy going all for the Infested Terrans. It's amazing just throwing those into the mix, especially as he was getting a lot of those units very, very low health. The Infestors, or the Infested Terrans, were cleaning those up quite nicely.
All right, indeed. So we are going to be setting up here for the grand finals. There is Stefano. And we are actually going to be doing an interview here for, I think it's going to be Mr. Rob Simpson from Blizzard himself. So they're going to get set up here just super, super quickly. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We just are going to have one more match left to determine the winner of that. But keep in mind, Stefano winning $5,500 just now.
He does. And now up on stage with our winner of 3rd place, Rob Simpson. Take it away.
Thanks, guys. So, Stefano, that series started off with a couple really close, very long, drawn-out games. What did you do to keep your head in the game?
It's a strange question, but I just focused, I guess.
Well, both of those games resulted in motherships. I believe we also saw carriers in the beginning as well. Were you at all frightened in the first couple games of the series?
Well, as soon as I saw the carriers, I knew I had the game, because it's impossible for Protoss to win with this unit. It's totally useless. And I guess he just wanted to lose.
There was a game that you had to restart on and play again. What did you do? How did it feel having to start over again?
Well, from the first game, I didn't really destroy him. I wasn't ahead, so it was a close game. So it's normal we have to regame it. But on the second game, I had to change my build because he kind of expected what I was going to do. That's why he played with lots of sentries and immortals. And I kind of brain gamed him, going on infestors. And it worked quite well, and that's why I could win. It's just because of the game I could win so easily.
Okay, well, congratulations on your third place finish. Do you have anything to say to all your fans out here?
Well, I hope this win will forgive my last lose.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's hear it for Stefano. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, a big congratulations to Stefano. Many said he was in contention to take this tournament, but a top 3 finish amongst the 16 talented players that are here. That is really not too shabby. He actually gets himself additional $3,000 just by beating his opponent there, walking away with, I believe, $5,500, $2,500 coming out for Squirtle.
Yeah, great tournament here for Stefano. He is going to be the highest ranked player from outside of Korea, but coming up, man, the finals are going to be awesome. MC able to make it all the way through, and Bomber as well.
Yes, coming up next here in the Red Bull Battlegrounds, ladies and gentlemen, it will be MC taking on Bomber, and it's coming up next. Don't go away.